Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I just got done watching episode 14, which is entitled T.A.H.I.T.I. Now, we see Skye, who at the end of the last episode, which was a couple weeks ago, it's been a while, but she was shot twice and she's near death. In fact, they say at the beginning that her injuries are so bad, they had to put her on life support. So Coulson and the whole team desperately, frantically look for a way to save her, even if that means doing the same operation that happened to Coulson onto Skye. Now, what I thought of this episode was, it wasn't bad. It's just, I guess, I didn't love it as much as I was hoping. First, I want to talk about some of the best moments of the episode. Seeing Melinda May angry. I love seeing her angry. Just seeing a badass agent like that, who usually you see her and she's calm, she's collected, she at least bottles her emotions and feelings up pretty nicely. But seeing her sort of lash out and beat the shit out of Quinn, I was like, okay, more of this, please. Seeing Agent Ward, even though it wasn't a huge fight, when he greets that agent who comes onto the plane, and at first they're pleasant. Hey, remember this, remember that. But then it gets tense, and they get into a fight, and Ward does this Superman-like punch that was just so badass. Next, Bill Paxton. Bill Paxton, even being in this episode, was cool enough. But I like that he was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and he originally was supposed to shut this team down because they didn't follow protocol, and I think he wanted to take Quinn in, but he struck a deal with Coulson, and I like that he stayed involved in the whole episode with them, because then they ended up going to that facility that I guess is called T.A.H.I.T.I. But first, before I get to T.A.H.I.T.I, at the very beginning of the episode, Ward says to Fitz, look, it's not your fault what happened to Skye. She went in there on her own. I'm supposed to supervise her, so I'll take the blame for it. And it just kind of gets left to that. And I'm like, okay, for one, it's Fitz's fault. I'm sorry. He was the only one there with Skye. He's an agent, supposedly. He should have been responsible enough. He should have been looking out for Skye enough to say, alright, either I'm going to go in there with you or you're not going to go in there. I don't want to give him the pass this easily. And at the end of the last episode, I remember Ward saying to Melinda May, I don't blame myself. But he gave a sort of, like, there's somebody who deserves the blame, and it seemed like it was setting up a confrontation with him and Fitz. And here it's just like, no, everything's okay. We're just going to worry about the Skye situation. And okay, maybe it's mature to just focus all your attention on that, but I wanted to see some tension in the group. I think Fitz kind of had it coming to him. The whole plot of the episode, it makes sense that Coulson's going to sit there and go, alright, if there's a facility that did what they did to me, brought him back from the dead essentially, that their first thought was to do this for Skye. And it's like, okay, it makes sense for what has already been set up on this show. But as a rule, I don't know how much I care for this whole, oh, we can just bring back the dead if we want. If something happens to somebody, we can just do this. Now, I know by the end of the episode, the facility has blown up, and technically, I guess, all the equipment and the medicine and all of this stuff is destroyed. So maybe that's their way of saying, yeah, it existed, but now it doesn't. So maybe future episodes, we won't have that whole, like, oh, if anyone dies, we can just do this. Or if anyone dies and they stay dead, why don't we just do this? It was an awkward situation to set up at the beginning, which kind of shows that I don't really care for the reveal of Coulson's death or how he was brought back. Anticlimactic. Quite possibly the weirdest thing about this episode, which is probably what they were going for. But Coulson, when Melinda May asked him what happened, why did he change his mind about giving Skye this medicine, and then they show that when he was down there, he saw this container with this, I don't know if it's a creature or what it is. It's some blue looking It looks like the alien from Prometheus. If anyone saw Prometheus, the engineers, the aliens that supposedly create us, it looked exactly like that. And I'm like, what is this? Is this supposed to be some foreshadowing? I kind of hate when they introduce this weird out there idea or theory and they don't tell us what it is immediately. Maybe that sounds like I'm being impatient, but it's like something that weird, you probably shouldn't leave on a cliffhanger. And on the preview for the next episode, we see that it's going to be the Sif episode, where she's chasing, I guess, another Asgardian that's come to Earth and is doing whatever. So if next episode is going to be strictly Sif, we're not going to have that explained until probably a few more episodes down the line. One other thing that I think sort of saves this episode is seeing Coulson, how much he wants to help Skye. And I like that they have that relationship where he feels responsible for her and how they all feel like her family. And even the last shot of the episode, not including the stinger, is Coulson in her room sitting there watching over her because he's worried for her. And I hope that maybe the explanation for how she survived this or how she survived that drug has something to do with her having superpowers. Let's do something with that. I almost can't wait to see what comes of it. So, this episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was okay, but compared to that last episode called Tracks, that episode was so great that I was hoping that this series was going to go in that direction, was going to go to a whole new level and sort of have that energy in every episode. And it's not like this episode didn't have energy. There is a lot of good stuff about it, but I'm still confused on so much stuff, and it makes me go, crap, we're just going to backtrack after that episode moved us forward. I did enjoy having Bill Paxton on the episode. It helps bring the series up to a different class when you have an actor like that who wants to be on the show. Very much looking forward to the Sif-centered episode next week because, again, it's not only is it tying into the Marvel Universe, which is what the show should have been doing, but it's taking a character from the Thor movies that I don't think got enough play, enough things to do in the Thor movie. So it's like, yes, let's give her an episode where she's sort of the main focus and give that actress what she deserves. And let me know in the comments below what you thought of this episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Later!